Welcome to FRCmedia News for Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. I'm Keith Tebow. School Superintendent Matthew Malone will resign his post effective November 1st. The push to get more people vaccinated against COVID-19 continues. We preview more upcoming high school graduations, and the Narrows Center for the Arts hosts its next Spindle City Fest coming up this weekend. All that and more coming right up. Fall River School Superintendent Matthew Malone sent a letter this week to the school committee announcing his intention to resign effective November 1st. Malone has been embroiled in controversy since last fall after allegations surfaced that he made inappropriate remarks to staff. The school committee investigated the incident and on a vote of 4-2 voted to retain the superintendent while also cutting his pay. In his letter to the school committee, he touted his accomplishment, saying in part, quote, "As we emerge from the COVID-19 pandemic, reopen fully for in-person learning, successfully complete our collective bargaining agreements, recruit and staff our schools for success, invest in increased capacity for engagement, support academic and social emotional learning needs, and open a brand new Durfee High School, I can confidently attest that we are set up for future success." On his immediate future, he added, quote, "As you know me, you know I will continue to work as hard as I have since my first day up until my last day. My commitment to the city of Fall River and the students whom we serve is and always will be indomitable. I have enjoyed Fall River immensely and will forever treasure the people I was able to work with and the students whom I was able to serve." Here's a response on the superintendent's resignation from Mayor Paul Coogan.
I think that the superintendent made the decision he thought was best for him. Obviously, there was a number of things that we were dealing with involving the superintendent, and when he weighed everything, he came up with this solution. I was always not able to participate in a lot of these discussions, but at the same time, the superintendent, realized that this is not a position he wants to work in because, of what happened, and he wants to go back and get a position that helps him and his family, and that's the best you can say about it. I don't know what triggered it, but he went forward with his letter, and that's where we are now.
Meanwhile, school committee member Kevin Aguiar feels Malone should be terminated immediately.
It's a good thing that finally the superintendent is deciding to resign his position. The problem that I have is that we can no longer allow him to continue to act as our superintendent moving forward. So really, we need to address this as a school committee. We all know what has happened. You can't get around it. The superintendent has made poor judgments. He's acted inappropriately towards staff. He got a last chance agreement, and he continues to act in a negative way against staff and be inappropriate. And we need to act as a school committee. We all know what's happened. We've all seen all of the complaints, and there's a myriad of complaints, and we as a school committee need to act on that as soon as possible.
The next scheduled school committee meeting is set for June 14th. Aguiar says the committee needs to take action before then.
I asked the mayor, both on the phone and via email, to schedule a meeting within 48 hours, which is what the law requires, so that we can have a determination of if we're going to agree to a resignation, any kind of agreement with the superintendent. We need to do that ASAP. And it's my belief that he should no longer be in power to make decisions moving forward. And anybody that looks at the myriad of complaints that have come in and that continue to come in would look at this and say, we just have to move in another direction. I personally think he should have been terminated for no money, zero, because that's what his behaviors and his actions have shown. I'm willing to just say, let's just give him a severance package of the 3 months that are in his contract. Let's do it in a public vote where we can all sit down and determine what's the best interest of the school district going forward. And I 100% think the best interest of the district is to move away from this superintendent right now, and we can move on.
Mayor Coogan says it's likely a departure date for the superintendent will happen prior to November.
We're looking at some things that we think we can work with all the members of the committee on to come in with something unified in relation to the superintendent's end of his career in Fall River. I mean, let's look at it. We're talking about now the superintendent is leaving. We're simply talking about when does he go. That's what we're talking about now. the November 1 date was the date he picked. Is that the best date for the city of Fall River, or is that the best date for the superintendent? So we'll work with the timeline he gave us and see what we come up with.
We have an update now on the distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine here in Fall River. 45% or 40,459 city residents have received at least one dose of the vaccine, with 37% or 33,333 residents fully vaccinated. An update on the number of those vaccinated is expected later today. You can find out the latest on our webpage, frmedia.org/COVID vaccine. The easiest way to find out where to get the vaccine in Fall River is through the city's vaccination webpage at frvax.com, or you can call 833-8VAX-NOW or 833-882-9669. The state's website VaxFinder at vaxfinder.mass.gov is also a location where you can find other locations distributing the vaccine, including local pharmacies and shopping centers, including Market Basket, which is now giving out a $25 gift card. You can also dial 211 to find out the latest on where to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Fall River continues to lag behind the rest of the state in terms of the percentage of residents who have been vaccinated. Dr. Eric Vaught, Chief Medical Officer at the Health First Family Care Center, says the change in the supply and demand of the vaccine has shifted the focus of outreach.
The rollout of the vaccine, I think, has been a very interesting to observe from a human behavior standpoint. When we started this process, and you and I talked, Keith, we were doing the best we could to get as many vaccines as we could and open up as many appointments as we possibly could to meet that initial surge of demand. And that was a very passive process. We had to just get the vaccine, we had to open up the appointments, and then people that wanted the vaccine found their way into our clinic or into one of the vaccination sites across the state of Massachusetts. Now we're into the second stage where we have to be much more active and advocating on behalf of our patients. And so we're making those phone calls out to our patients and doing the outreach. We're going to these family members and saying, that are in those communities and saying, be an advocate on our behalf that you successfully got the vaccine. Now tell your family members and invite them to come to the health center and get vaccinated. And really going from a very passive process to a very active and engaged process here in the last couple of weeks.
Much attention now is focused on getting teens between 12 and 15 vaccinated. Dr. Vaught says the vaccine remains safe despite reports of very small instances of teens getting what's called myocarditis, or swelling around the heart.
We have not here at the health center had a case of myocarditis, but there has been reports in the lay press and also in some of the medical literature about a risk of myocarditis, swelling around the heart after getting the vaccine. And more information is needed in the coming weeks as we kind of unpack this a little bit more. What we do know is that those individuals who get the COVID virus and are infected also run the risk of myocarditis. And what we know, at least preliminarily, is that those that are infected have a higher rate or higher likelihood of getting myocarditis than those that are vaccinated. So the current guidance is still to get vaccinated to prevent the teenager from getting the virus itself.
As data continues to be gathered, Dr. Vaught expects that a vaccine may soon become available for younger children.
So the studies currently are ongoing for those ages 2 and up for the Pfizer vaccine and the Moderna vaccine. And I suspect, based off of the timeline that we've seen so far with adults and then with this adolescent population, that it would be in the mid to late fall that we would see the data coming out, maybe even as early as the end of 2021, that would say, yes, we can proceed with vaccinating all individuals aged 2 and up.
Dr. Vaught also expects more information later this fall as to whether those who have been vaccinated will require a booster vaccine. 3 local high schools will celebrate the class of 2021 at graduation ceremonies tomorrow. Resiliency Preparatory Academy, Durfee High School, and the Atlantis Charter School. Atlantis Executive Director Robert Beatty tells us this year's event will replicate as normal a ceremony as possible for the class of 2021.
With the state loosening a number of restrictions, in particular over the last couple of weeks, we think it'll be a really nice event for our kids. So we're having it outdoors, which we typically do every year anyway, or at least the last couple of years we've tried to have it outdoors. And with the loosening of restrictions again over the last few weeks, students will be able to be outdoors and guests without masks. As you know, the CDC and in our state, leaders in healthcare are suggesting that people that aren't vaccinated continue to mask, but that's their choice. It's not mandated, and also just encouraging folks to keep some separation when they're outside. But hopefully everyone will be able to enjoy some nice weather, be outside, be able to take the mask off, and have a nice graduation. Students will come up and cross the stage and receive their diploma. So, we're looking forward to a really great day for the seniors.
Mr. Beatty says this year's seniors faced many challenges over the past year, experiences that will likely benefit them as they pursue their future.
Their resilience, I've had kids come up to me excited about the colleges that they got into and saying that they're excited to be back, but that they did fine while they had to be remote. And so that resilience among all kids, but certainly the kids that we work with day in and day out is the thing that sticks out the most, and I think that, in a crisis, you always look for the opportunity and for the silver lining and those kinds of metaphors. And kids that were able to adapt to remote learning. In some cases, we even had kids in our career academy doing their internships remotely online with the businesses that they were connected with. And you just hope that sets them up well for the future. And whether that means hybrid work in the future, where you're home part of the time and in the business at the office for part of the time, or just the ease with which students work with technology now. If that improved among our kids, we hope that that's something that in this crisis they were forced into, but that serves them well in the future. And that's not, all of that is not to take away from some really tragic circumstances. There are families that were impacted heavily by the coronavirus pandemic or had other real difficulties over the course of the last year, and so we've worked hard with our social workers and school adjustment counselors to try to support them as best we can.
Diamond Regional Vocational Technical High School honors the class of 2021 at its graduation ceremony next Thursday, June 10th. Assistant Superintendent Principal Andrew Rebello says the outdoor activities will include no masks and up to 4 guests on hand per graduate. He says over the past year, the class of 2021 learned more than just academics or a trade.
What they just went through will teach them a lot. Every generation has a defining moment, whether it was, the Great Depression or the wars or 9/11 or the housing crisis in 2008. Every generation has their defining moment. And I think that this class, this generation, will be defined about how they react to this. And they'll use what they just went through, the resilience, right, the adaptability to situations, to be better in life because of it. And something that we always say here for the past year is stay diamond strong, right? And I think that's what this class has embodied, is no matter what's thrown at them, they're going to make the best of it. And they have. From their response to remote learning or in-person learning or changes on the fly, they really have adapted to it, and they've met the high standard of excellence that Diamond really has every single day. So we're very proud of this group, and I think because of it, they will be better on the other side.
Mr. Rebello says Diamond seniors are well prepared to continue their education or head directly to the workforce.
No matter what you want to do after high school, you're going to need more education. We have students that are in cooperative education programs all over the state. Whether it's working at Gillette or working at the hospital down the street, those are going to require further education. So we're really trying to prepare students to be life ready, and it's a term we coined to be life ready upon graduation, no matter what avenue they want to pursue. If it is a 4-year degree, that they'll be ready for that academic rigor at the next level, or if they want to continue working at their co-op job, Gillette, for example, where Gillette will pay for their 4 years of college, are they ready for the world of work combined with going to school? Are our kids ready to solve the problems of the next generation and be the next, so we can supply the next workforce generation for this community? Are they ready? Are they life ready? I think they are.
Diamond's graduation again next Thursday beginning at 6 p.m. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Administrative Assistant. Hard Pine Incorporated, located at 100 Weaver Street, is in need of a full-time administrative assistant to handle all administrative and financial tasks of the business. Job number 149-82804. Tax Auditor. The Department of Revenue, located at 99 South Main Street, is looking for a full-time tax auditor responsible for fostering voluntary compliance and narrowing the tax gap by identifying, educating, and auditing non-compliant taxpayers. Job number 149-79906. Registered Nurse. Star, located at 386 Stanley Street, is seeking a full-time registered nurse to monitor patients, administer medications, keep records, and consult with health care providers. Job number 149-82150. The Fall River Public School Department, located at 417 Rock Street, is in need of the following full and part-time positions. Bookkeeping Clerk, job number 149-78654. Special Education Inclusion Math Teacher, job number 149-78301. Adaptive Physical Education Teacher, job number 149-79719. Elementary School Vice Principal, job number 149-77568. For more information on these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
The COVID-19 vaccine is here. The distribution of the vaccine is taking place in phases. Soon, everyone will have the opportunity to get vaccinated.
According to the CDC, getting the vaccine helps lower the risk of contracting COVID-19, along with reducing the severity of the virus if you get sick. It also protects your family and community from infection.
After receiving the vaccine, we encourage you to continue to wear your mask, wash your hands, and practice social distancing.
The vaccine is provided free of charge for all Massachusetts residents. Appointments are required.
Find out more about when you can receive the vaccine and schedule an appointment. Visit mass.gov/COVID vaccine or by calling 211.
Protect yourself and those around you.
Stay informed.
Secure your spot and get your shot. Get your shot.
Get your shot.
Get your shot.
Get your shot.
A vacina chegou. A distribuição da vacina vai ser feita em fases. Em breve, todos terão a oportunidade de ser vacinados. De acordo com a CDC, apanhar a vacina ajuda a baixar o risco de contrair o Covid-19, assim como reduzir a gravidade do vírus se ficar doente. Também protege a sua família e a comunidade da infecção. Depois de receber a vacina, encorajamo-lo ao uso de máscara, a lavar as mãos e a praticar distanciamento social. A vacina é oferecida grátis para todos os residentes de Massachusetts. Marcações são exigidas. Saiba quando pode receber a vacina e faça uma marcação. Visite mass.gov/COVID-vaccine ou marque 211 no telefone. Proteja-se a si próprio e aos que estão à sua volta. Informe-se. Reserve a sua vaga e apanhe a injeção.
Welcome back. Despite the inclement weather, Fall River joined the rest of the country last weekend by remembering those who gave their lives in service of our country on Memorial Day. At a ceremony Monday at Battleship Cove, Don Elbert of the Vietnam Veterans of America Chapter 207 reminded those in attendance to never forget the sacrifice of American soldiers.
Your attendance today is a public display that those who follow will not forget patriotism and the valor of those who have fallen in battle. The servicemen and women we remember today came from all walks of life, but they had one thing in common: love and loyalty to this country. Their presence at this ceremony and other ceremonies during the Memorial Day weekend is a tribute to their nobility of spirit and unflinching courage, made in the belief that others in another part of the world could one day enjoy the same freedoms that they did. Our attendance here also is a reminder to others that safeguarding our nation is a serious duty with heartbreaking but necessary consequences. The men and women who had their lives taken to preserve our way of life deserve to be remembered.
What hopes to be the beginning of a somewhat normal summer season kicks off this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. with Spindle City Fest, a free outdoor event sponsored by the Narrow Center for the Arts. Executive Director Patrick Norton says the Music and Arts Festival will be housed at a different location this year, the gates of the city on Ponta Delgado Boulevard.
Usually we do Spindle City events inside the Narrows, so that the main difference is that we're holding this one outside of the gates because we weren't sure what the rules were going to be, and we figured it made sense to do an outdoor event. The gates is a great place to gather, a lot of parking in the area. So that's the first change, but it'll have the same components in that we've got 2 musical guests, Neil McCarthy Trio, Neil and the Vipers, and we've got 20 art vendors, and we've got 4 or 5 food vendors. So it's that, that mix that we usually have. It's just going to be outside. There is some hesitancy, but I think for an outdoor event, this shouldn't be fine. There's plenty of room out there. We've got we're doing some spray paint art with our artist in residence, Kevin Lamoureux, for kids. He does these fabulous spray paint with stencils, and the adults can participate as well. But it's kind of a very family-centric event. I would highly suggest to bring a lawn chair or a blanket to sit out on the grass out there. We won't have chairs, and you might want to even bring your own lunch if you'd like to too. There will be some food available, but that's an option for people if they're interested in that.
Now that most of the COVID-19 restrictions have been lifted, events at the Narrow Center itself will soon resume.
The Narrows has been blessed. We've got a very, very strong community of supporters out there that, like you have said, have kept the lights on. We did live streaming every Friday night for the past year. We've got 2 more live streams. We're actually going to do a hybrid mix of in-person and live stream shows. That's something that may continue in the fall. We're not exactly sure of that, but we thought we'd try this out now and try to get a feel for it. But I think people can come to expect that what they've always expected from the Narrows, a high quality musical and art experience. I mean, things haven't changed. The physical space is there. We've got a lot of the same musical acts that we've had in the past, plus a whole bunch more in the fall. I think we've got 66 shows now on our calendar from now to the end of the year. So we're super busy. We're hoping people come out. You can be sure that we're going to run a nice, tight, family-friendly experience inside the building as well.
We'll wrap up this edition of FRC Media News right after this.
Hi, welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Tucker. Tucker is a handsome, short-haired man over here, mostly black, a little bit of white. I would say white where it counts, like right on the tips of his toes. Tucker's only been here for a short amount of time, but in that time he proved to be a very sociable, often very playful young man. Likes to lounge around too, as you can say. I would say a typical young cat, though it's hard to describe why. He acts like he's just a little bit young, a little bit older than he is, like in his demeanor, until you get him playing, and then you can see that 1-year-old really come out. As far as activity levels in the home, normal, everyday comings and goings would be perfectly fine. Even a calmer house would be fine as long as he was getting enough one-on-one attention with people. He would do well with kids. Yeah, all around pretty even dude. So if you'd like to meet Tucker, you can come down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts, at Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
Today we have Peyton. Peyton is a new addition to the shelter. She was a surrender, no fault of her own. Unfortunately, for her owners, life just got in the way and they couldn't keep her anymore. So they did the right thing and they brought her to us. Peyton is about 5 years old. We think she might be a lab border collie mix. The more she has something to do, the more active she is, the happier she's going to be. So if you think Peyton might be a good fit for your family, go to foreverpaws.com, fill out an application, and once you're approved, we'll have you come down to 300 Linwood Street and meet Peyton.
The COVID-19 vaccine is here. The distribution of the vaccine is taking place in phases. Soon everyone will have the opportunity to get vaccinated.
According to the CDC, getting the vaccine helps lower the risk of contracting COVID-19, along with reducing the severity of the virus if you get sick.
It also protects your family and the community from infection.
After receiving the vaccine, we encourage you to continue to wear masks, wash your hands, and practice social distancing.
The vaccine is provided free of charge for all Massachusetts residents. Appointments are required.
Find out more about when you can receive the vaccine and schedule an appointment. Visit mass.gov/COVID vaccine or by calling 211.
Protect yourself and those around you.
Stay informed.
Secure your spot and get your shot. Get your shot.
Get your shot.
Get your shot. Get your shot.
La vacuna contra el COVID-19 ya está disponible en Massachusetts y su distribución se está haciendo por etapas. Muy pronto, todo el mundo tendrá la oportunidad de vacunarse. De acuerdo a los estudios realizados y las recomendaciones del CDC, vacunarse no solo reduce el riesgo de contraer la enfermedad, sino que disminuye la gravedad de la misma en caso de contagio, además de proteger su familia y a la comunidad en general de la transmisión. Después de recibir la vacuna, todavía tendremos que continuar utilizando mascarillas, mantener el apropiado distanciamiento y lavarnos las manos con frecuencia hasta tanto nuestras autoridades nos den nuevas recomendaciones. La vacuna es gratuita para todos los que vivimos en Massachusetts, pero se requiere hacer una cita para recibirla. Para saber más de cómo hacer tu cita, por favor visite mas.gov/COVID-vaccine o llame al 211. Protéjase y proteja a su familia. Manténgase bien informado. Haga su cita y vacúnese.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please check out our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest news and information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Thursday.